we got little matching V pendants on Etsy. The Hungry Elephant is the only Etsy seller I could find that actually had just the V. It wasn't like engraved on something, it's just the V. Thank you, the Hungry Elephant. Check her out.
Thank you, my angel, for a wonderful birthday gift.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey guys, I'm Anna.
And I'm Brian.
And we are
Those Annoying Vegans.
And this week was Brian's birthday.
It was.
Happy birthday, honey.
Well, thank you very much. And we had yet another viewer request, which worked out perfectly, by the way, because as you know, one of my favorite foods is bread. So we thought we'd show you guys how to make your very own homemade vegan bread.
Now, bread is one of those foods that can unnecessarily contain chicken periods and cow breast milk. We don't know why.
Who knows? It's perfectly delicious without them.
Especially when it contains ingredients like flaxseed and oats and agave.
And as always, this recipe is delicious, affordable, and very easy to make.
So let's make it.
Let's make it. Oh my goodness.
Look!
Oat, flax, agave bread.
It smells so good.
It does. The agave was nice. It kind of adds a little sweetness to it.
Yeah.
Like a, I don't know, like a Hawaiian bread possibly.
Yeah.
It has that sweetness.
Use lukewarm water, very important.
Yes.
Bath temperature water. It shouldn't be too much hotter than that. And also we used oat flour, which doesn't have gluten, but we also used bread flour and all-purpose flour to balance it out.
It is possible to make gluten-free bread. We're not gluten-free, so we didn't make gluten-free bread.
But you can.
Well, you can.
We have gluten-free flour in our cupboard at this moment.
We do.
So.
There's also almond flour, oat flour, a number of gluten-free flours.
Yeah.
You'll probably need to change the ingredients up a bit because of the way those flours work. But I must say,
it's still poofy enough.
Yeah.
Like it's risen. It rose.
It is risen.
Look at that.
Oh.
Whoa. Look how
Look
cool
at
the
that.
bottom is. You can see the oats.
Oh yeah.
It smells great.
I really love bread. It's like my favorite thing. Oh. I really think the bread flour helped with the chewiness.
Look at the steam rising off of it. Let me
I'm excited.
Miyoko's butter this up.
Oh yeah. Now we got some Miyoko's on there. Miyoko's butter, guys. You got to go to the Trader Joe's.
Yes, and they just
get
started
Miyoko's.
carrying it at Ralph's, didn't they?
They started carrying Miyoko's vegan mozz
Oh.
and a couple of their other cheeses at Ralph's.
Ooh.
And they carry the butter at TJ's.
Right to your local TJ's. We did, and
We
they
did.
started carrying Miyoko's butter.
Hey,
Magic.
there you go. Businesses want your patronage. The more you know. Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good.
Mm.
Oh, it's so fluffy.
It's chewy.
And sweet.
It reminds me of those
Wow.
like really dense restaurant breads that they bring out at the beginning of a meal.
Yeah. That you crack them open and the steam's just, and it's like fluffy inside. Guys, you gotta make this.
Nom, 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 nom. Oh, the bread is so good.
It's not cute, it's creepy.
Is it? Sorry.
So today we wanted to discuss the topic of internet trolling. Why is this so important to our movement? Internet trolls tend to target minority and progressive movements and discussions. That's veganism.
What? We've had our experience with trolls. Not anything too, violent or offensive or threatening or anything. And of course there are various levels of trolling, but it's kind of one of those things you recognize it when you see it.
There have been 2 studies so far on internet trolling, and we feel that it is important for you guys to be able to recognize it in order to equip yourselves better in how to deal with it. In general, a troll is someone who leaves an inflammatory comment with the purpose of disrupting a conversation or a discussion and getting an emotional response.
Sounds nothing like anything we've experienced on YouTube. Sarcasm.
So we mentioned there were 2 studies, one in Australia, which was just published this year, which is called Constructing the Cyber Troll, Psychopathy, Sadism, and Empathy. The one that was done in 2014 was in Canada, and that one is called Trolls Just Wanna Have Fun.
They do. They have their own definition of fun.
Like we said, trolls tend to target those hot button issues in the hopes of making you feel foolish or triggered. Like if you respond emotionally, they'll usually respond with, haha, triggered, when in fact the reality is that they're the ones being triggered. So in this study, a few hundred people were given a questionnaire and all of those questions were categorized. And what they found is that trolling has a strong correlation to 4 different personality traits: Machiavellianism, narcissism, psychopathy, and sadism.
Those are known as the dark tetrad because they're pretty dark. Aspects of the human personality. Narcissism, of course, is just sort of an overinflated view of oneself, a high level of ego, and sort of a centrism.
Which, in fact, had one of the lowest correlations to trolling.
Correct.
So narcissism isn't quite that related.
On its own.
On its own.
You need some other personality traits to really get the trolling going. Machiavellianism is similar to narcissism, but it takes it a step further, which is a person who is so interested in their own benefit that they're willing to deceive or manipulate or exploit other people to get what they want. Psychopathy is more commonly known as antisocial behavior disorder. And sadism. Sadism is taking pleasure in other people's pain, suffering, or humiliation. Does that sound like a troll to you?
They found that out of those 4, sadism was the one with the strongest correlation. They also found that trolls tend to average about an hour or more online. That's a lot of time. Along with that was a correlation to antisocial behavior. Trolls might also exhibit these personality traits in real life. Most of them are young men in their 20s.
Of course.
Trolls actually do recognize when they cause this pain, but are not able to flip it back around and empathize with that pain.
There's actually a joy in causing someone else discomfort. That is the root of trolling.
Why on the internet? There's the component of anonymity. There is also that antisocial component. They sort of came to the conclusion that these people probably have some issues in their real day-to-day.
In the vegan world, trolling takes a range of forms. I mean, you'll occasionally get the bacon though, which is level 0 trolling, I guess. All the way to some more aggressive or threatening comments.
Personal attacks on your appearance, or changing the discussion altogether. Like a comment we just read about my eye surgery and how the doctor better be vegan, otherwise I'm funding a meat-eating doctor.
Yep.
What? Okay. Aced that one.
Troll win.
I guess. I don't know.
Sort of.
That's what we want to show you guys, is how to differentiate between those comments and the comments that actually warrant a discussion. And sometimes we've made the discovery that someone can start out as a troll, but then if you respond with kindness, they'll actually apologize sometimes. And then you have the trolls who just continue on in their trollish ways, and then we stop responding.
It speaks again to the anonymity part of the internet, because I think a lot of the trolly comments that you get, you would never say that face to face. It only happens on a forum like the internet, where you can sort of just detach yourself.
And ideally, if you are going to respond to a troll comment, leave the emotion out of it. Come at it from a logical perspective, give it 1 or 2 tries, and if the troll continues to troll, leave it behind. You know the saying, don't feed the trolls. So we recommend either ignoring the troll or responding with kindness. We're not saying that we condone trolling, and I actually feel bad because they're unhappy. There is no reason to spread unhappiness unless you're unhappy yourself. And we must try to understand them and come from a place of empathy and compassion. The good news is 5.6% of all the people who were questioned self-identified as trolls, meaning they're a minority. Most of those people were non-commenters. They just like to go on sites and watch videos.
I just like watching videos on YouTube. And I watch videos from people that I agree with and disagree with, but I never feel the need to sort of set the people that I disagree with straight. And furthermore, why do it? I guess that's why I'm not a troll.
Be a billy goat and...
Do billy goats eat trolls?
Billy goats trick trolls.
Oh, do they?
Yes. The 3 billy goats gruff, they tricked the troll into thinking that the goat behind them was the tastier one.
Children's nursery stories are way darker than you think they are when you're a kid. Like when you get older. That woman wanted to bake Hansel and Gretel in an oven. Wow.
Be a billy goat or a unicorn. Spread kindness.
Or you can just ignore them, knowing that your reaction is what the troll desires. So don't give it to him.
Exactly. However, there is a difference between everyday trolling and threatening someone's life or threatening to harm them. So if you ever feel threatened, go ahead and report them. We were actually watching a couple of videos on YouTube about trolling, and it's funny because some of the comments under the videos about trolling were self-identifying trolls. I might as well just admit it. I am an internet troll. I do it because I enjoy seeing people get defensive and upset about the things I say. I do things such as insult the disabled or old, be sexist, heavily insult vegans, furries, bronies, and others, even though my views on the subject may not be reflected in the comments I make. I just relish the fact that people get really butthurt and upset, and also that I can make them feel hurt by what I say. Being a troll is fun, and I'm not going to stop.
So guys, for this week's news segment, it's a new part of our videos that we've started incorporating. We will be sharing with you some great news from around the world regarding the vegan movement.
We feel that it is important to share with you guys this news that is often not widely publicized, but it is so important for you to know how much of a difference you're making every day.
So first up, the Lebanese president passed the country's first ever animal welfare law.
And this law involves prison and fine penalties for mistreating domestic animals and wild animals. Now you might be thinking, the first one ever? What? But this is great news. That means they're taking a step in the right direction.
Next, Utah's ag-gag laws are done.
Bye-bye, ag-gag laws in Utah. The Attorney General's office said that they're not planning on challenging the ruling that found that ag-gag laws violate freedom of speech. Believe it or not, initially 20 states attempted to pass ag-gag laws. Many of those states did not succeed. In fact, most of them didn't succeed. Currently, there are only 8 states that still have ag-gag laws in place. Those are Kansas, Montana, North Dakota, Iowa, Missouri, Idaho, and North Carolina.
And number 3, the Guggenheim Museum debacle.
It is good news in the sense that the Guggenheim Museum in New York City is no longer going to be exhibiting 3 very controversial pieces of artwork. This art was part of an installation called Art and China After 1989, Theater of the World. One of the video exhibits was a video titled Dogs That Cannot Touch Each Other. This exhibit first came out in China, and it involved 8 dogs on treadmills harnessed with barriers in front of each other. When the barriers were removed, the dogs would unsuccessfully try to attack each other, and they were kept like this for an extended period of time. Now, the Guggenheim was just going to show the 7-minute video.
The video was shot from real life.
Yes.
So it actually happened.
It actually happened.
It's not like an illustration or an animation or something.
Right.
It's real footage.
There were 2 other exhibitions. Theater of the World, which is an enclosure with hundreds of reptiles and insects, and people are just supposed to watch them devour each other. The third piece of art was a case study of transference involving a boar and sow, mating in front of an audience. The disappointing aspect of this news lies in Guggenheim's response in their apology statement. I will read it to you verbatim from their Instagram. Museum statement. Out of concern for the safety of our staff, visitors, and participating artists, we have decided against showing the artworks Dogs That Cannot Touch Each Other, 2003, Theater of the World, 1993, and A Case Study of Transference, 1994, in the upcoming exhibition Art in China After 1989, Theater of the World. Although these works have been exhibited in museums in Asia, Europe, and the United States, we regret that threats of violence have made our decision necessary. As an arts institution committed to presenting a multiplicity of voices, we are dismayed that we must withhold works of art. Freedom of expression has always been and will remain a paramount value of the Guggenheim. It's hardly an apology at all. If they had at least admitted to making a mistake in their judgment, then maybe we would have praised them, right? Like, yay, Guggenheim, we don't support that. Instead, they're saying that it is disappointing without realizing that freedom of expression in art need not sacrifice another's voice, in this case, the animals.
You could have an art installation, and there have been many art installations where you have humans doing something violent or grotesque or something macabre in nature, but the humans have consented to do it.
Right.
This is, we've taken animals, we've forced this upon them. It's not really free speech or art.
One of our Instagram commenters, actually, I couldn't have said it better. She literally said, complaining about threats of violence when actually supporting, exhibiting, and praising real violence as art. Oh, Guggenheim, I didn't think you were this basic. Hashtag embarrassed for you. We are too. The good news is, do you see what all your voices can do? Do you see how we prevented this from showing up at a world-renowned museum?
So guys, if you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button down below. That really helps us out. And if you haven't yet already, subscribe! And we will bring you something new every week.
And make sure to visit our Etsy store for our shirts, and we'll have some new shirts soon.
Thank you so much to our patrons on Patreon.
Yes,
you guys
thank
make this show possible. Really, really help us out. Thank you so much.
Bye!
Bye.
You're worth it to me.
Red.
Cool.
Nom, 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 nom.